Rare. Rare. I'll turn on this VLC media nonsense.
There she is. That's a good ladybug.
Okay. Well, the whole gang is here. How's everybody's weeks and shit?
Oh, that's good.
My week is going all right.
Allegedly.
I got a nice Band-Aid right here.
Yeah. Sweet vaccine.
I felt this way on Wednesday.
Boom.
How many, like, what is it, like two rounds, 3 rounds? How many does it take before it's like fully set?
So I have the Moderna vaccine. So first shot, 28 days later, second shot, 2 weeks later, your body's processed it enough that you're vaccinated. So total is about a 6-week process.
It works.
So basically, in 6 weeks, you can go out before everyone else to have a good time.
But I can still get it on my clothes and, bring it. Like if someone who's positive COVID, like coughs on me, I won't necessarily get sick, but I could
Transmit.
bring it, come home and like hug.
So what I'm hearing is
kids.
the vaccine does not extend to your clothes.
Correct. Which is why I'm starting in 6 weeks, naked all the time.
That is just horseshit.
Be naked all the time or COVID wash.
Well, officer, you see, I've been vaccinated, but the vaccine doesn't extend to my clothes. And so I wanted to keep everyone safe. That's why I'm naked. Naked.
So we were told for this card, fill out all of our information on it and carry it with us. Like, we have no idea what the world is going to look like, but it could be 2-3 months from now. You're not allowed into something unless you can show vaccination. And so show the card, show your ID.
So is this the new Jim Crow? I can come in. I have my card.
I think that Jim Crow was a color wheel, right? You hold up a paint chip.
Poof. Oh.
Sorry about that. I heard an alarm going off, and when I left to come out here, the kids were playing with the keys to the car.
Oh, fun.
Oh, fun.
Well. This should prove
You want
to be
to do a
interesting.
Expanse recap for us? This is a quick recap right before our encounter. I wrote down our initiative.
You're speaking to me directly there, Ken?
Yeah.
Okay, wasn't sure.
I was looking at you when I was talking. Couldn't you tell?
Well, it was kind of like this, but Oh, I don't know. Like, The Expanse is doing great. I watched the episodes out of order on accident because I watched Wednesday to catch up. And I was like, sure, I'm on episode 7. That makes perfect sense. And then the recap went, and I was like, that's weird. I don't remember that last time. And then watched it all the way through. I'm like, this is weird. Like, it works. I was like, oh, fuck, it's Wednesday. That was last Wednesday, so I should have been on 6, not 7. Like, okay. Well, it's funny because I wanted to see the other, like, so episode 7, while it was, like, really good, I have a tendency to be a little bit biased towards, like, the story for, like, Amos and Earth. Like, I'm really interested in that. Like, the Belter and the
We haven't
War...
seen Earth that much.
Yeah, like, we haven't seen much of what the Devastation's done either, so I'm like, I really want to catch what's going on with that. And the whole Belter and the ships, like, the sci-fi aspect of it is handled, which is interesting because, like, The Expanse kind of does this. They have, like, these moments, they kind of, like, make you edge a little bit for the really good stuff, and then they, like, hand it to you finally by the time you're, like, breaking a sweat. Like, I was like, fucking finally, Jesus. Like, but in a good way. Like, they're not holding back and going like, Jesus Christ, why is all this fluff in here? It's more of a, yep, we gotta know this. I'm watching. The good shit's gonna hit really hard in a second.
And then it does.
Yeah. Well,
I was more talking about doing an Expanse type recap of our game session from last week.
oh, well, I mean, I didn't
Expanse
catch
is
that. Yeah, The Expanse is just awesome, so why not? Well, I mean, like, so I don't think I can portray that. It was just kind of like, oh, we're here! The bridge is disappearing. Shit, this weird guy has sutures in his face.
Well, that part I remember, but like right before our fight, right before you had us roll for initiative and shit, I can't remember exactly what was like coming at us.
Well, Ivar was like, holy light on!
Yeah, so you guys came to the edge of whatever this, like, destroyed city, like, whatever it was, headed towards its, like, back center where this enormous cathedral was laid out. And
yeah, by the way, your description fits perfectly for the city of Dis.
Interesting.
From Dante.
Yeah, it's the last 3 circles of hell. And in the cathedral, you go into the broken cathedral at the bottom, and in it, it's cracked and sundered, and you walk into the icy pits of hell. And that's where you find 3 beings. Only 3 people are at the lowest pit of hell. It is those who've committed the greatest treason against their masters. And so you find Brutus, Cassius, and Satan himself.
Furthest from the love of God.
Brutus, Cassius. By the way, that was my master's thesis. Go figures.
Really strange, but kind of on point. Like, so, yeah, I don't know. Like, not Dis, though.
And it's the city of
That.
Dad.
Oh, the swinging disc.
If one of you guys figures it out, I will definitely tell you what, like, I will confirm, but definitely not the city of Dis, no.
I'm in this bitch.
Big dissonance.
These nuts. Do I have it in here? I should have it in here, shouldn't I? There we go. Veritol is having a 2-week little hiatus. Really made it possible for me to go crazy.
That's a really good one.
What are you talking about?
This is Paradiso. This is the end of the Divine Comedy. It's when he's staring into the beauty of heaven, which is just, it's a rose.
I couldn't get through the Divine Comedy because
it was mandatory reading.
I tried an audiobook of it, and like after like 10 hours of listening to him just naming people. It's like, here is this guy, here's this guy, here's this guy, this guy's suffering. Here's this guy.
It sounds like you had a literal translation. You want to go? There's I think it's Pinkney. Pincus has a translation that it's more poetic, and it's just beautifully done. Because if you get a bad translation, and most people go with the translation from like the 20s, it's a really bad translation from the Italian.
Boring.
Somebody
Like,
in the
I don't know any of these people.
Well, that's the problem too,
and it's
Ken.
a-
Is that your
it's
worst
a
nightmare is a book full of
big
names which you can never
slam book.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just calling out contemporaries. And
Yeah,
talking about
I
how
know.
shitty they are.
I got that when he got to certain points, certain levels of hell, while the person was guiding him, that like he was like, "Oh, I see that here's someone I know from life that is now suffering because of X thing he did." But like,
Yeah.
it was just like after the 50th name drop, I was like, "I'm not."
more
like,
important to pay attention to what the circle was and what was the hell that was brought on to people, as well as the general idea that
the last one I was on was when
suicidal.
they were like up to their feet, or their heads were all the way in, their feet was up and getting eaten and stuff. But yeah, the other part of it though, honestly, it was depressing me. I was like, man, this is sad. This is like,
It's supposed to be. You read the opening canto. Is the poor guy is just super depressed and
And Virgil's like, "Hey, what up?"
hey man, I was just hanging around
That's
here. You
a
wanna
tiger.
go with me? We're gonna. I'll take
was
you
that
through
the
hell.
tiger or the lion or the cat thing that like showed up?
I wrote the Aeneid. Let's go. do
Panthers.
Panther.
Yeah, it's the Panthers that chase him down the hill, and he drops at the entrance of hell, and he gets the famous lines: "Abandon ye all hope who enter here."
Yeah, well, maybe I should just read it and have like an abridged, or not abridged, but like a thing that explains all the poetic stuff, because I'm just not smart enough to catch all the poetic stuff.
Oh yeah, you are. You're that bright. The shit you throw up online, you totally get it.
I guess I'm not reading enough into it then.
What I need pop-up video.
Huh?
You know, like, do you remember pop-up video? VH1?
Oh yeah, where it like pops up and tells you stuff like fun
Where
facts.
it's like you're watching the music video, and then this little thing will pop up and be like, "Fun fact: George Michael's babysitter is the one roller skating in the background." I'm like, that's what I need. I need to be like reading a book and have this like boop, pop
There's
up.
a pope. There's another pope. This guy thought he was pope, but wasn't really pope, but called himself pope.
Exactly.
That kind of stuff would be useful for me. Like, just know, because like you say, I may not need to know who those people are, but I also know that some of them, like the author is trying to like diss these people. Like,
Yeah.
they're saying, you know, here's some fucks like that are these are the sins that they had.
It's Mean Girls, but it's like Dante edition.
Drew, can you send me the rendition of the
This-
that version of the book? Because
This is a
Scott, do you have
fun-
your rendition nearby? Because mine's packed in a box.
well, I mean, just send it to me like in a Amazon or something, so I get the right.
No, watch. Scott's gonna literally. Yeah, I can look it up for you and get it.
It's like, I got this. Boop. He just like reaches off screen and there it is.
Well, you know, a Gale is always prepared.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Anyway, sorry for that. The little digression.
You know,
Literary,
it's all good.
commercials.
It's
You know,
all
that's,
good.
I gotta say, of all the commercials we've had, that's probably the most like PG friendly. Like, it's like, hey, we're gonna go off on a little intellectual
Yeah,
commercial
right.
here.
Most of the
This
time,
one-
fuck
I like
this.
because it's got pictures.
I like pictures.
Those are like nice inks too.
Jordan had bought me for my birthday years ago a 19th century rendition of it with the ink line, the black line master drawings. That was just wonderful.
Wonderful.
Yeah, look at that. That's nice.
Is the Dante's Inferno where we start where we see like renditions of like angels and stuff too?
Yeah, you'll see them in there because remember, the Divine Comedy is 3 stages. He has to go through hell and through it's literally through the anus of the devil to get into Purgatorio, and then he marches up this mountain to get to Paradiso. I want no.
That's really impressive stuff.
Wow, Longfellow translated it. Why did I not know that?
This is my 1946 translation.
You know,
Oh, here it is.
I think that my little conjuration of this entire area only is working because y'all be so damn educated that it's kind of like when you're competing against somebody who doesn't know how to fence well and they make a bad move and you expect to feint and react that way and get stuck because you didn't realize that they were just being a sloppy fencer.
It's like, oh, he's got like 3 levels removed of like strategy. I was like, no, he's just dumb.
Asshole got lucky because he just made a bad move.
Then again, we're all reading into things that aren't there, and then just geeking out on something we read in college that has yet to really actually come to fruition and being useful. But they were fun to read.
I'll have to pick this up at some point. Thanks. I'll put it on my list.
You're very welcome.
Like I said, I gave it a shot because everyone says you got to read it, then I tried listening to it, but it was just so depressing and dry.
Hey,
and,
don't worry. I feel the same way about Moby Dick. I have yet to finish that
God.
goddamn book. It's horrible. Just horrible.
It's awful. It's an awful book. I don't know.
Oh God, you're the first person I've ever met who agrees with me.
It's awful.
Oh, that book sucks.
Yeah, like, no, seriously, like, the first couple of chapters, fine. I skipped it, went to the last couple chapters, great. The rest of the fucking book, garbage. Like,
they lost me when I read 70 pages of him talking about the clam chowder he was eating.
yeah.
And I'm like,
Or what they do with whale blubber.
fucking clam chowder! I mean, I've been to New England. They make good clam chowder. I do not dispute that, but it doesn't need 70 pages.
Yeah. Nope. I can't handle it.
I remember
Nice.
near the end of the Wheel of Time, like the later books, he would start like talking about like all these minute details of like ruffling like their shawls and like the teeth. Just so like super deep. He'd spent like a page and a half just talking about like the tea set.
How many braids got pulled and?
Oh yeah,
I'm good. I'm good.
You know,
I gotta tell you this. I was telling Bill and Scott this today. I just finished reading Bernard Cornwell's Saxon Chronicles. He's been writing this series for 15 years and finally finished it. And the ending was one of the most beautiful endings I've ever read in literature. It is well worth the whole series.
That's good praise.
Yeah, it's 14 books over 15 years.
Wow, so almost a book a year. That's not bad.
Yeah, it follows from the reign of Alfred the Great through his grandson, and this guy basically he's the Forrest Gump in this time period. So he starts as a young man and he ends the series. By my estimate, he's like in his 80s and he's still whooping ass, which just makes it hilarious because he goes to these guys who are like, I'm this 20-year-olds who think they're shit, and he's 80 years old and kicks their asses.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
So anyway, what were we seeing right before we started fighting?
well, I mean, you guys hadn't even started the fight yet. You were just trying to keep yourself aware, which is why you had all the combat sense awareness rolled. Which, by the way, who got what now?
So John is first, Barrick is second, Riv is third, Ivar is fourth, and the actual rolls was 31, 23, 25, and 8, respectively.
Gotcha.
I love that the roles come with respect.
Yeah. What was this? I
Like
heard a
members of Congress, with respect, you're an ass.
Just a little bit more, and we will be like British Parliament. Just a little bit more. Just a little
please
bit more.
go that way.
Right?
I love British Parliament. It's so much fun to watch. And then you get the guy shouting, "Order!"
Yeah. Mr.
Beating the
Speaker,
mace
the
on the
gentleman
table.
from South Carolina is neither distinguished nor a gentleman. He is in fact a fat lump of toe cheese for which the term Neanderthal must have surely been invented. He has the style and grace of an asthmatic prairie dog and the aroma of a jellyfish at low tide.
Ugh.
That was great. That was great. He was good in that movie.
Well, anyways, so, you were pushing through the baseline of the city here. Let me just whip up the ambiance. You were pushing through, I have a literal ambiance, I don't know if it's going to be a good one.
Ambiance.
Okay,
Oh.
we'll crank that for now.
I have that one.
Who was this from? Wither Blister Burning Peel. I can't remember anymore. I used to really like the band though. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, you were pressing through the city and the rest of it. There was, most everything is illuminated by this kind of odd pale light. It's like if it were like dawn or close to it, like maybe an hour or two after. But it's kind of got that white-gray kind of appearance to it, almost like what Purgatory was experiencing when you guys were there. But the whole place, like I said, carries with it that sort of stigma of pain sort of baked into every brick and every thatched roof. Every single resident that you guys see seems to have some kind of historical anchor, like chains keeping them tethered here. And they're all sort of maligned in some fashion or another. Men, women, children, all. They all have the slightly darker skin, the black hair, the brown eyes, that kind of thing. They all have that sort of carry of them being Middle Eastern in some fashion or another. And, they go on sort of avoiding you for the most part. But, Ivar, your danger sense kind of like peeling off and not becoming like, instead of just kind of doing this thing where it's just sort of like ambient danger in the nearby area but not so much directed, winds up kind of hitting to a crescendo point just for a little bit where you're like, yep, there's something kind of headed this way, and that's kind of when everybody sort of notices what's going on, because the denizens of this debased place start to kind of vanish. They sort of disappear, and there's a distortion that's sort of out and ahead of you.
Gross.
It looks vaguely humanoid, but the silhouette is distorted. But it is just kind of like heat waves trapped in a certain form.
Are we going off of the list then?
Well, at this point, it kind of depends on what people are wanting to do, because like I said, it hasn't engaged in any kind of combat maneuver. It's just there, you all
But
notice it.
Ivar's feeling threatened,
Yeah.
and that is the.
Yeah, I mean, you like that. Clearly, that distortion has ill intent towards your group and yourself.
And who is the closest person to Ivar?
Well, Ivar's kind of trailing in the back. I believe that Barrick, you and John are usually up ahead, right? And Riv, you're kind of like mid-guard most of the time.
It's true.
Yep.
Depending on
Ivar,
what
but is Riv within distance for Ivar to touch Riv?
He's like, yes.
No, so Ivar reaches out, and his hand is just shaking, and he tries to grab Riv, and he starts to stutter, and he's trying to explain the danger that he feels. He's just stuttering. You don't know what he's saying. He's like talking in tongue.
Spit it out, man.
Ooh, 10. Slow that.
John's kind of doing the cold.
Okay.
So he's going to do a kind of an occult,
35.
35.
It's too bad that stuff doesn't show up on the chat everywhere else.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So, you got a 35 on your occult? Is that what I saw, or?
Yep.
Okay. Because of your own personal knowledge of everything that you've experienced, especially with your long life, you recognize more or less this transparent creature or entity to be nothing other than a lost soul. And the reason why that is very bad is because lost souls are very much detached. Now, more or less, they're kind of like the runoff, and at least in the time that you've spent like escaping Leviathan, which is the Cenobitic Grand Laboratory, I guess you could say. Once you were escaping, so the plane of technology is probably one of the biggest cesspools of the lost souls, because torment is their game. That's really important, that pain and suffering be completely and utterly pure. And the biggest thing that you know about them is that they are ravenous, absolutely relentless, and they need to be torn apart in order for them to stop. They are angry, for one thing. Two, they can sometimes express certain abilities and powers that, they get the name of being dangerous because of it, because they can sometimes manipulate material in and around their bodies, and they can also take on sort of subtle forms that are intent on causing whoever it is that they're going after to become insane. So they kind of have a tendency to peel away, like, it's not really known why or how, but they can sort of peek into the mind of their inherent victims and pull forward some of the most inherently disturbing images that make them want to crumble up. So lost souls in and of themselves are extraordinarily dangerous. One, not so much a bad problem per se for a larger group, but for a fact that mundane weaponry will do squat, so there won't be anything there that will be terribly helpful. But if you have any kind of boost, it doesn't take much. So you just need to have some kind of energy that sort of tilts it one way.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna activate my gauntlet.
Activate away.
Ivar's still stuttering in the background, just like.
So, is there any way to avoid the lost souls?
Say again?
Is there any way to avoid the lost souls? Go around them?
Is there anybody around the lost soul?
Is there a way to avoid them?
Oh, right around it. Yeah,
Avoid
sorry.
them.
Yeah, it's like you're coming in so loud that it's distorting your voice somehow. I don't know why.
Because his computer's too good for that.
Right? Like,
Is he
couldn't
talking
hear,
like this?
wasn't having problems beforehand, but now it's just sort of like, listen to that bassy thrum.
From. Oh God, D, I'm so sorry. Jesus Christ. I swear to God, do you just link up with my luck to figure out the perfect role that will give us a good story?
Nope.
This is the third time that I've rolled, and then it's oh, in this situation, exactly what you were just describing would be kind of perfect here. So, with what Ivar was shaking at my, I was trembling, and I was like, what? And so I activate my gauntlet, and I look over at the distortion, and what do you know? I get true sight.
Wow.
So,
Okay. That's rather apt. Good job. Crap. Let's see here. We're going to push it into a different category now. Whoops, open up.
He's like, oh, I see. I need to kick it up a notch.
Yeah.
Dark and intro.
Yeah.
Great.
We're so screwed.
Well,
Hey, at least I'll be able to warn you
it's
guys.
not this one, so you can relax a little bit.
Kill. Oh God.
I saved that one. Actually, yeah, this is going to be perfect. All right, so you're and you can feel the energy. Of course, this is absolutely. You always get true sight at the worst possible times. I think you've had it once, where it was I can actually use this in real life, and it's not going to traumatize me right down to my infancy. Like every other time, you're let's just open up that can.
Children are still reeling.
It's just, yeah. Okay, well, so the veil that pulls back in front of your third eye reveals exactly what isn't necessarily visible in any other way. This city is not a city. This is like 1,000, tens of thousands of pained echoes that have formulated from vast memories of an entire city of people that had once been alive and then thrashed by a single cosmic event. And you can see the scars and blast marks all over everything. You can even see the vague echo of what the city used to be before it was utterly destroyed. And you can feel not just the pain, but also the rapturous glee of all sorts of things that come through it, because it's not just your vision that you're basically picking this up on, because you're in a totally different plane. But you're looking at the ground, you're looking at the streets, and you're catching shadows of depravity on every street, everywhere. These silhouettes are engaged in all kinds of various acts, from the conjugal to the carnal to the murderous to the absolutely feral. It is all over the place, playing in reverse and fast forward and happening all at once.
So, how's my sanity doing?
We're gonna get to that. So, with that in mind, you start to look around at some of these individuals that are skipping out. You can see them as mothers and fathers, daughters and sons, and then you can see their flesh being burnt completely off the bone from rampant explosion and then just being blown into dust, atoms. You can actually taste salt in the air whenever that happens. And
yeah, the sight is not just sight, is it? It's
no, true sight gives you the reality experientially. So there's that, and so you can see this column of flame as whatever it was that struck this place down, still sort of frozen in time and memory, sort of nearer where the actual cathedral exists now. And then when you finally look ahead to spy the entity that has made you guys its target, just start shooting Riv up every time she activates the gauntlet. Even if it's not for the right reason, she's going to be like, ow! You're going to be like, hey, it's just precautionary, okay? But yeah, so you look up at the entity that is now, stalking in your direction, and what you see there is almost like an amalgamation of exactly what you see around yourself, except for it's compressed. The worst part about it is that you can see something what looks to be maybe a woman in her mid-30s. You catch sight of maybe a gunshot wound that was right about here, more or less. But you can see tears through the very being that she is. And these tears have never healed. And that has, left her with this, almost like the wounds themselves never really stop, and they kind of burn everything else around them. It's kind of like whenever somebody feels tremendous pain, it transfers to everyone else. But you can actually see it viscerally from this point. And her face is mostly disfigured, and you can see that her jaw is beginning to open up a lot wider than it should. The hair just kind of going out all crazy. And when you see her, she ends up seeing you. And you can see these, big gleams, this little, green pinpoints of light in her eyes. And that's whenever everyone else sees the strange heat-like apparition screech and come charging your way. Yeah. The one intriguing part of her ghostly form, which is now becoming far more mutated and distorted as she starts to make her approach, is that there is this funny-looking ethereal chain that hooks directly to where her spinal column would be at her mid-back. And it goes running all the way back to that cathedral.
Alright, so she's gonna scream.
Oh yeah, everybody hears her freaking let out. Like, the
Banshee
apparition
that
just
she is.
screams. Yep. Yeah.
It's like Karen's.
Well, I was gonna say Riv is screaming, but I mean, I'm gonna let everyone else know. It's like we got a contact.
Speaking a different language.
And as you say that, Ivar finishes studying and goes, "That's what I've been saying!"
You guys told me we were coming to Fairy. I was expecting mushrooms and woodland creatures. This is not that.
I like that you always have an opportunity to be witty.
Alright. So, first on that list, again, if you would be so kind, Kenneth, to make sure to iterate who has what now.
First it's gonna be John.
Alright.
And then Barrett. And then
Probably
Riv,
good.
And then
Alright.
just unsheath, John.
Unzip.
Alright. Gonna get a
So
prime.
how close is the Banshee to John?
She's approaching from right around. So she was kind of far out, so she was about 100 foot. So she's making her way at a, like she's rushing the group at this point at a fairly fast rate of speed. So it won't take her more than a round to 2 rounds to clear that distance. So she's moving quick.
Okay.
You know, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what makes you look so tired, Bill, but this is exactly how I see your character going like, motherfucker. Like,
I mean, we are in Fairy, so I'm sure he's not happy to begin with.
Are we officially in combat, or can Ivar make a quick cult roll to see if he knows how to stop this thing?
oh, you can make an occult roll, sure. That's like free action, period. I get to use the new stuff I've been building, because I haven't forgot. I'm going to have those combat stuff out and ready.
24. Does Ivar know any occult knowledge of weaknesses of a banshee, or anything that we can do or shouldn't do when attacking said banshees?
Well, whenever you're dealing with spirits of a certain kind, it's always a good idea to have a little bit of salt. Because generally speaking, it is a consecrated mineral which can act as a barrier and sometimes damage the ethereal.
I wish we had some ghosts. Oh.
23 occult for Kill John.
Alright. Trying to get like something tactical. If you want to like supplement that with a tactics roll, you could definitely throw that in there.
I'd say
Yeah,
Barrett was going to roll tactics. But
Yep. Anybody who
okay.
wants to make any kind of skill check of that nature, please do.
That's a tactics for Barrett.
Okay.
I think I would like to close my eye. That's what one of my actions would be.
You think? You're like, like, okay, so, do make a sanity check anyways, because, I mean, exposed.
Just for funsies, right?
Oh wow,
my
Ivar
target?
got an 18 on his tactical roll to
Not too bad.
figure out where the hell we're gonna get some goddamn salt. Where do we get salt? I don't have tequila.
Can't you just manifest it?
Ivar just stares at Riv. I could do that.
Start crying.
Transmutation. That's very simple for Ivar.
My twin waterfalls.
How do you think Ivar makes his vodka all the time?
Gross. I was
All right.
pissed.
So, so
Just
Bill,
squeezing potatoes.
what you know, like with your occult role and the tactics, you're kind of on the same realm as everyone else, which is like, okay, we're dealing with a true spirit here in every sense of the word. Like, it's a spirit that's been like ripped up a bit, and your understanding of how these things work. And the reason why you're familiar with the lost souls, specifically those in hell, is because souls are the primary like matter and material that are what compose all of your Stygian effects. So anything that is Stygian is usually comprised of the very souls and beings of those who happen to encounter hell. So they get funneled through Leviathan as well. And not all of them get hit, and those that don't necessarily get forged in the crucible under the process end up kind of meandering around as truly nefarious disembodied beings.
Okay, so what he wants to do is
Sanity, my good friend. Which is a percentile dice. So,
Oh, right.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Bill.
he wants to use matter and forces to convert a circle of dirt around them into salt.
Okay.
So, run the transmutation thing. He just wants to basically have like instant salt circle protection.
Right.
What does he need to roll for that?
Alright, so you basically go to do that. All you have to do to make that manifest is make your occult. I think you have... Don't you have matter as part of it? Yep. So you just make your... however many dice you're allowed or want to use. Burn the SFR and make that salt circle.
Salty. Just think about all those times you were killed by a 1-360 no scope on COD.
Clarification, Bill, are you making that salt circle around us or around the Banshee?
Around us.
Probably just around himself.
Yeah, he's just
I'm good, guys. I'm good.
he's just had it.
I would be in character.
Cult out.
I
Nice.
succeeded in my sanity, so I didn't go insane.
If you boost that one in your roll, then you have a single success, which is really all you need.
Okay, I'll do it.
All right. Did you have lucky, Bill? I don't remember if you did or not.
Yep.
So just 1 point then.
The rookie mistake of this game. You don't come in lucky.
He lies.
Every veteran knows now. What's the first thing you get? Lucky.
Yeah. Without a doubt. So, yeah, I mean, like, you just create that circle. It's almost like it boils up out of the ground and then just goes all the way around everyone, starting from your front and center and expanding 2 directions going around the entire group. Which is just in time, because the distance that this thing had to clear was strong enough that she had to focus on getting to you first. What everybody witnesses just after, you've tapped out the third eye and are able to actually see things like you did before, thank God for being able to deactivate that stuff, she ends up slamming up against this invisible wall where the salt circle has emerged. And instead of dissipating or hitting it like a hard surface, you can see that she expands on the outside of this wall. You can see the chest cavity opening up and then just ragged pieces of everything just kind of floating out and about. She starts to press up against it and start to flatten and widen out, like she's trying to engulf the space that everybody's inside of this circle with. And it's almost like her own strange ephemeral body is just trying to consume this whole thing because you can see it undulating, and that's for everyone now because her form is no longer hidden as this like heat like variation arbitrarily wandering around. So I mean, you can see the distortion of the semi-humanoid form just kind of smearing up against this solid wall, and then the screeches start coming in louder and louder, and they're starting to get even more furious and angry.
So we're in an igloo of salt, and she's dropping Banshee Wrath on top of us.
Yeah, I mean, she's like, so, like, the salt circle is just surrounding you guys, and she's hit it like you guys are in this impermeable cylinder. And she's just, like, trying to reach around it. Now, it does kind of stop. She doesn't engulf the entire base. She just basically expands outward with enormous, like, limbs and hands, and the
she's
body is
basically
just, like...
flattened out now,
Yeah.
and her spiritual energy is now trying to give us a Banshee hug.
Yeah, she's basically trying to almost, it's like trying to consume or absorb you. That's kind of the feeling you get. Fancy rap.
That's what I thought he was going to say.
Oh, man. Oh, let's see here. Let's do this one. This one's pretty good.
So what happens if we break the circle?
Bad things?
So I can't shoot at her.
No, mundane. Like things like bullets. I mean, Ivar could supercharge the bullets. That would work.
But when the
Magic.
bullets break the circle?
If the salt itself is disturbed, the seal is broken. You can pass beyond it or step over it, and the barrier remains. It's only the physical salt itself. If there's a break in that, the seal doesn't work. John's understanding.
Ivar can always go all holier than thou. So there goes that.
Ivar's sitting there shaking in his boots like he's remember, he's got the hell was his disadvantage?
It was called combat paralysis.
He's got combat paralysis. Ivar's scared shitless right now. Ivar's sweating bullets, kind of stuff.
Oh, great. Ivar is useless.
Useless.
And so I want Ivar, and this is kind of deliberate, but Ivar, Beric, and Riv, will checks, please. 8 target.
8? Okay. That's the one where we roll our will.
Yes!
I got a completely useless roll on my gauntlet anyway, so.
What was the roll?
Target 8.
Yeah, target 8.
I got super speed.
Oh,
3
you're
successes from Ivar.
Riv just...
zipping
Let's
around.
make a duck stop.
It works for the Flash. All right.
Does the fact that I got a 1 on the exploding roll make it a failure or a success?
No, so like if you get a 10 and roll a 1 immediately after, if it's on standard rolls, meaning not multiple dice, it just adds 1 to whatever the final result is. It does not count as a botch. If you roll a 1 on an exploding die for the multiple dice, it is not considered. It does not count against you, so it doesn't nullify anything.
Okay, so I actually have 2 successes then.
Right. Yeah. So if it's on an exploding die, it literally stops it from being a botch. It can't go down once
It can only help you.
Yeah. Correct. So
Okay, I'm gonna spend 1 luck point to bump my 1 up to a 2, which gives me an 8 success that's not canceled out.
all right. That is good. So Beric, just to kind of start with you on this one, you feel something try to reach inside your head. somehow or another, you're able to actually push it away, but just in the strange half moments before you're able to push out whatever the influence is trying to do to you, you catch sight of someone that you haven't seen in probably almost 20 years. Just the faintest silhouette of some person. It was a woman. She had shorter shoulder-length hair, and she had this look, and you're just suddenly like the back of your head kind of tingles a little bit, and then like you have your gut drop, but then she vanishes as you like I said, pushing the influence out of your mind. You don't know what it was, but it is definitely a memory that you do not want to actually have come to life all of a sudden. For Ivar, scared shitless or not, it basically tries to reach inside of your mind, and you're like, no! Like that. Just basically slap it out. Same thing with, like, Riv, you basically are trying to, like, just kind of stay focused, and you can feel it trying to get inside your mind, but it just fails to accomplish that. You can feel it crawling around like a large spider all over your head, but it can't get in.
Fingertips on the surface of my mind.
Yeah. John, on the other hand, you recognize this kind of thing immediately, and you just go like, every single one of the personalities inside of your brain goes to select wall up like that, and it's just like clunk. Doesn't do anything. The exposure to these kinds of attacks have happened to you so much in your brief time, because time itself is sort of like expanded and not really relevant. That Lost Souls in this particular attack doesn't necessarily have enough weight. So you're just like, nope, thanks. And you also have an army in your skull, so I can't willfully justify
I
it.
have my own fucked up memories. I don't need extra help.
So, yeah, you're basically immune to this, like, specific attack, but, you do feel the attempt, nonetheless. But yeah, so it starts to push through. Now, everybody needs to make another combat sense awareness, because you're going to be trying to observe what happens before it happens.
Whoa. Nice way to like hit both of us at the same time in one call. That's kind of cool.
Nice. 23. 15. Excuse me.
23, 15, hike!
Damn!
Fucking hell.
That sweet D19,
Bill.
man.
D19, yeah.
You gotta love that sweet D19.
I mean, it's still great. It technically counts as a 31 since I'm ignoring the 9. But that'll work too.
I want to roll an 18 on a 10 die.
Yeah, right?
He's gonna use forces and manipulation and...
Okay, so, John, because you're the most savvy, you feel something in the ground, not inside of the circle, but rumblings from the outside of it, and it becomes evident that the creature intends to disrupt the local area, which could easily disrupt that circle, which means you guys are in danger for sure. This one next.
John doesn't know what to do.
Why this is going on, Ivar's trying to stutter towards John. He's like, John, Ivar know what to do. Ivar got this.
Ivar, what do we have to do?
Remember, Ivar's still glowing with his holy,
Yeah, you still got true
and
faith
he's
running.
Ivar's sweating bullets. Ivar's just like, Sweat, have electrolyte salt. I will make holy salt magic missiles and chuck that shit at Banshee.
Oh my god. It's got electrolytes. It's what plants crave.
Ivar's plan, as soon as he can get around to his turn, is to pull the necessary electrolytes, not too many, because he doesn't want to dehydrate himself, out of his sweat. He's going to imbue it with true faith and magic missile that shit right at that Banshee.
Well, so Ivar's not necessarily going to be capable of blessing them the way that he's thinking, but, I mean, the fact that it's salt is good enough. And that is probably the most sweaty stunt I've ever heard of anybody describing in my life. So, well done there. Either way, you're going to have the opportunity to utilize that in just a moment. So, you're going to be concentrating on the to get that shit rolling. So, everybody else feels that tremor. You're all seeing that come along. Right as Ivar is stuttering to kind of get this whole strategy out into play, there's this crack, this really loud cracking noise as something happens from the outside of the creature, and a jutting piece of earth just comes lunging straight out, kind of like this tooth. And it disrupts the circle so utterly that it creates a break in the center, and you can see her starting to bleed through this massive opening. Which means that, I believe Barrick was next after John, yes?
Yeah.
Alright. Which means, sir, your go. Whether you think it'll be effective or not.
Throw salt at it!
Well, Barrick is going to scoop a small amount of salt that he can
Okay?
out, without disrupting the edge of the circle. Engage the Ripper blades in his arm, throw salt, and try and stab it.
You know what? This was he's so fucking on target. Like, yep. Okay. I'm sorry. There's a certain badassery moment that I'm craving to have because you're right fucking there. Anybody who's ever actually watched the Castlevania animated series knows exactly what I'm thinking about right now. It would be so fucking perfect, but it is still good. Actually, I'm gonna make a. All right. So, are you throwing and then using the Wolvers to do it?
Yeah, that's the idea. That
You're passing
thinking
through, right?
kryptonite
Right.
onto the Superman's skin and then stabbing it.
And then piston fucking. Yeah.
I fucking love it. All right, let her rip, Tater Chip. Let's see what you got.
Okay. How do I attack with my Ripper blades? Melee, right?
Yes.
I've never used them before.
Yep.
Never used your
Melee.
awesome badass claws.
Yeah, well, because his martial art is actually like gun kata.
Yeah. So, yeah, my melee skill is an 18.
Ooh, that's actually pretty good.
Do I use... I don't know how this works. Do I use my, commando?
Yeah,
Martial
you'd be
arts,
like
or-
you'd use you would use your commando martial art, and in this case, if it's better, especially so.
Yeah, well, my commando is 20.
Yep. So use that to be your commando, your martial art commando,
Okay.
and a D10. Baller.
So, 25.
Regale me with some Juno. Well, it's seeping through. So 25?
Yeah, 25 is
Yeah,
with
there it
my
is.
commando martial art.
I'm looking right. 25? I can't read it. Okay, so yeah, you go right for it. the salt disrupts whatever's going on because you can see that the contact of it almost forces the ethereal body, like it tries to retract as the salt is going forward, so it's pushing through in a sort of almost liquid-like fashion, and then you hurl the salt and it comes out and then tries to recoil, and then you can see a bunch of like staticky like impacts occur. You know, they're infinitesimal, but clearly it does something because you can hear it wailing, and then you basically follow up directly, so going right through the stretch, you give it a good slash with those wolvers.
Yeah.
Yep. And you
This
actually
says
see...
my damage is 18.
Yep. So, with the salt in and of itself, you've weakened it. It's vulnerable to that. And then you passed your wolves right through it at the same time that this was occurring. So, you get... basically, it acts like aggravated damage. Excuse me. It acts like aggravated damage, so you wailed it. Like, you actually felt contact with the wolvers, despite the fact that it doesn't look like it has any real substance, but you felt them pass straight through. And there's actually whirling little clouds of dark smoke that come right off the blades. So, you managed to hurt it. So...
And as he does that, Barrick is going to scream out the name Alicia as he does it. And then he'll kind of like steal himself after that.
I like
Why
what you
did
did
you
there.
say that name?
Oh, God! It makes me want to fall headfirst onto a pitchfork.
Martha!
Yeah, stop. Oh,
Alicia is the name of his dead wife, who he saw briefly in that little image. So.
Thanks for following me up on that too. Yeah. I'm sorry. All of a sudden, I heard Martha, and then he just gets stuck with the frickin' spear because who would stop midpoint? Yeah. So you managed to make contact with it. Ken, who's up next? So we can just keep track of this.
Ken.
Huh? It's you. Okay, Riv, you're up.
I used my ruin earlier.
Yep. So you got
Or was
super
that part of
speed.
my other?
Foosha, 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 foosha. Like it's basically you just used an activation, but right now you've got yourself an attack. So
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot off as many magic bolts as I can.
all right, pam, 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 pam. Launch away.
I have a good thing. I've got some good reflexes now.
Magic missile.
Yeah, magic missile. What a great little description that was too.
Oh,
Isn't
that
that
was
great?
beautiful.
I thought you guys would enjoy that when I saw it. Let's see. This is melee, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be yeah, but it's your will and your melee skill rank, and then your D10. Because it is magical! Ha ha ha. Not built off
Yes.
reflex, but off your ability to focus.
So I'm rolling 1d10 plus my will plus my rank in melee, which is 5. And then looks like I could. My rate of fire is 1 to 3. How many bolts can I fire off?
You can lob 3 of them.
Well,
1
it's
to
right
3
there,
means
so-
at maximum it is 3. So you can be like pow pow pow.
I'm doing 3.
Rock it out.
Do I do 3 rolls?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna redo that one.
Redo. Ooh.
But here's the second one, and here's the third. And then I'm going to use 2 luck to redo that first one.
Alrighty.
Ah, that's much better.
Yeah, so you got an 8 plus the original, which was, so 21.
So 21, yeah. So
Yeah.
17, 16, and 21 are my rolls.
So 2 of them hit, 1 miss. What's the damage?
D4 on hit.
How much did you say?
It says D4 on hit is how much damage
It is
does.
magic missile.
It is magic missile. What the hell? No, that doesn't make sense. D4 should be a flat deal. It should be like your will plus something else.
No, you told me I got recharge on it. It's got stun and it's AP mundane, but that's it.
Something feels off about that.
Oh, sorry. No, sorry. It's 25. Damage
Ah
is
ha
25.
ha! Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. The recharge was the mana. I rolled 2d4 because I hit with 2 of them. So I recharged whatever mana I just rolled.
Yeah, because a D4 in Shadows is like poking your enemy with an X-Acto knife a couple of times. Like, it's not...
I recharged 7... Wait. No.
Alright, so you hit it for like 50 damage just now. So you're just like... So you see the first and second blasts hit, and then it recoils out, and the third one just goes right by as it like coils like smoke in and around it so you can see it go past. But, well
it's so
done.
funny. That recharge, like, I used 3 mana to shoot that off, and I recharged 7 just now.
Yep. That's how that works.
Son of a-
Yeah, it's built and designed to work that way. That's the reason why that gauntlet's so awesome. It's a little cracked, man.
My crack, dude.
Yeah, self-feeding.
Anyway, so that's my turn.
Yeah. That's up to you, Ivar. Are you ready to shoot some sort of sweat bullets here?
Yeah, so this thing's trying to get into Ivar's head, and he's scared. Like, Ivar's just, I don't know what I mean. Taking on a banshee normally doesn't scare this guy. It's just like, hey, people are always loud at him. And the moment it tries to enter his head, it almost like gives him a channel to get back at it, and he knows a direction to basically fear. So it's the old fight or flight kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he's gonna fight it by taking the sweat, and he's almost like extracting the salt out of his own sweat and blasting it at this creature in the most accurate way. It's almost like he's using sweat gun kata, almost, as you would say. But in a just straight up path of like, you just see Ivar there, and all of a sudden, like, this white form of crystal is building on him and just blasts like a shotgun right at this
Ivar
thing.
the desalinator.
Exactly. So what's my target?
Hold
I'm
on.
gonna leave the yellow sweat stains are gonna end up on this fucking thing.
I'm gonna say 7, because I honestly don't. Yeah, 7. No explanation needed. Proceed.
Dude, I love that at least once a session, Ivar does something that makes the DM go, I'm not sure how this is going to work, so we'll just do that.
Welcome to Shadow, the only time you've ever seen a sweat shotgun. That's a first even for me.
And Ivar, just for the fun of it, wants to use some luck to boost that one up so that he has 4 degrees of success.
Alrighty then. Okay, so yeah, 4 degrees of success. Let's see here. I don't
A
think.
greater salt dragon erupts from your body.
Something's dragging.
And is that 3 luck that I'm not doing a reroll, so would this just be using one of my luck points, or
You have lucky now,
it is
right?
2? Okay.
You have lucky now, or
No, I don't have lucky.
So it's 2 points.
No.
You're just boosting it. That's
Okay.
all you're doing.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you do a reroll, it's 3. But if you boost, it's 2.
Gotcha. 2.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So, all right. So you're just like like that, and of course, right from out of your face and out of your neck webbing.
All of his orifices outshuts this like white spray of salt that just
Gross.
it's like, think of a sandstorm of salt with Ivar being the source.
Yeah, like somebody's spraying out some kind of spiritual Febreze. Just.
Yeah, and I'd also like to add up, is this Banshee within 10 feet of Ivar?
It's close to 10 feet, but it's not permeating that close.
Okay, so it hasn't crossed
God
into
damn
my sphere of, like, I'm a glowing beacon of light in this hell. Okay, yeah, that's what Ivar does.
Okay, so I can only, because of the small, like how small it is, I have to, like,
Barrick's gonna have to start carrying salt shotgun rounds, you know, like the rock salt rounds.
That is actually a natural thing. If you ever find yourself at the Hammer of God munitions shop, which you haven't been exposed to yet, but when he figures that place out, he's going to love it, because then all of your guns are going to be blessed, holy, or silver, iron, whatever it is that you need, because they service everything for Hunter.net. So the mundane folk who don't have special powers get their munitions, and it's literally Hammer of God munitions. Their tagline is praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. Like, that's their thing.
What the hell is this?
Oh my god.
What the hell?
That's what I want to know. Gotta love salty memes.
I don't even know if the salt does any damage. She's just like, now poor Ivar's dehydrated and feels like he has a hangover.
Well, ew. These GIFs are knocking me off my rocker here. So yeah, it makes impact, and it does your will plus what's your like manipulation power, like your reality manipulation, rank 2 or 3?
I believe it's 2.
Yeah. So, and your will is what?
My will is 10.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so you did 12 points of damage with your sweat. That's nothing to sneeze at, or in this case, you literally sneezed at it. But like, it's just, yeah, okay. I mean, you disrupted it, so it's now like weak, more or less, just because of the fact that it's being impacted with sodium chloride. Holy crapola, man. So, yeah, it winds all the way back to the strange creature. So it is furious at this point. It looks like it is not entirely all well put together. Watch him make that hamburger, by the way. That was crazy.
I love him.
Incredible.
He's the best.
It's so incredible. That guy's crazy. Anyway, yeah, I mean, we kind of pissed it off. We threw a bunch of shit at it.
Yeah, so it's beginning to try and lunge, and you can see various parts of its form trying to reach out, snag, or slap everyone that's inside of this small area that you're trying to stay safeguarded in. So, whoop, let's see where we're at.
Johnny boy!
Okay. Time for me to have a little fun here. Bill, you're 1. Drew, you're 2. Ken, you're 3. And Scott, you're 4.
Wait, how's Drew get second?
It's because of the way they're aligned on my screen.
Oh.
He's not... I'm doing something about them, not giving them initiative. And the winner is...
Spinning the wheel of death.
Ooh. Apparently, John really picks it off. All right.
Johnny boy!
Everybody needs to make effectively any kind of dodge that they can cooperate with. So make dodge.
Oh, hell yeah.
please.
Speed makes me good at
Yes,
this.
it does.
Well, I thought it was going to be useful. Excellent.
Last till the end, too.
Duck, dip, dive. So we're all trying to dodge?
Yeah, because it's attacking all of you at once.
Okay, dodge. Oh, dodge. Ooh,
Okay, I think that's
Nice.
pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Alright, okay, for some reason I want to try doing an authority roll where Ivar, instead of dodging, he just uses his sheer might to, like, force this thing away from him. But here comes his dodge.
Good plan.
I like that you say no.
The dice
I
are
don't know.
Wah, 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 wah.
Ivar's using luck.
Ivor tried to dodge left and right at the same time.
You didn't know what
Fun
was
fact,
up.
I ran someone over on my bike when I was a kid because they tried to do that. I was riding my bike down the sidewalk towards them, and I said, "Get out of the way!" And she like went left, and then she went right, and she ended up like not actually moving her feet, and I just plowed right into her.
25 on a re-roll after some luck.
Yeah, you gotta.
Damn.
What's your base for dodge is 9, isn't it? With the rank and everything else.
No, it's 7.
7. Okay.
Yeah.
Plus 7. Gotcha. Yep. Sure enough. But it's actually 26 because you add the 1 to it.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, that's why you re-roll and add. So whatever your original result was,
Oh, I see.
you just stack whatever you roll plus, and you just happen to crit out. So
He just went back and
both
forth so
extremes.
fast.
for Ivar in particular, because he's not wearing his brown pants today, he just
Got
ends,
his bathrobe.
yeah, he just goes like "Ugh," like that. He literally just the whole like this thing, and the tentacle just kind of goes right across his face, and it just misses. Like he kind of has that nervous spaz backwards. And Barrack and Riv, you guys managed to just stay low and out of the way as the whipping lashing starts to happen. Unfortunately, John ends up getting smacked hard. It rolled a crit, which is why I was rolling the d4, because I was like, it's going to hit one of you, I just don't know which. So, yeah. Smackaroos! What's the armor that John's wearing? Is it warded at all, or is it just mundane?
It's just mundane.
Okay. So... Yeah, it's... Better check my documentation here. That might be smart. Ha ha ha. Come back. There we go.
What was the Bill? Do you remember what the VKBs? Just look up those VKBs.
Oh.
Yeah. It still stings now. It still hurts now. Thanks, Ken. I want
the documentation. Why documentation, man?
I just want Epner to be trapped in all the VKBs as a prison.
Well, that doesn't work though. She just cry and have someone else look it up for her.
No, she doesn't have anybody to cry to. She's in a prison of them. It just answers with another VKB about how to contact the person she's looking for.
Excellent.
Anyway, so alright, so it smacks you up pretty good. Crap. I hate these numbers. Like, I always get worried about doing damage to any of the characters, so I'm like, I hope I don't one-shot somebody on accident.
You keep doing it, man.
I do, and it's always Bill right now, which kind of sucks.
Hey-oh.
Alright.
Well, let's get a crit. Won't be able to avoid it, unfortunately, so...
Just bring out the Goldilocks, or whatever, the Captain Marvel. Yeah, see, Derek knows. I can't remember his name right now. Golden Sun or something.
Okay. So it's actually, it manages to hit you for 30, because there's nothing blocking it. The armor's mundane.
Goes right into his soul.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And fucking
I
smacks
think he's
him.
got lots of life.
I believe that he has... Do you have things like hard to kill or anything else like that wrapped up into the character at all? Really?
Just pain tolerance and the fact that I'm an HP character.
And the what?
I'm an HP character.
So, what health was he at? What did he have? What was his body?
He's got a 159 total health now.
Oh, he's a
not
hit
fair.
point based character, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
a
hit
game.
point based.
And then yes.
You hit the best person for this.
I'm seriously, I don't try to kill characters. I really don't. I just throw the situation at them. So, feeling pretty good.
So really, John just like, huh!
Oh, he gets smacked
Takes
hard.
right
Like, he goes rolling past. He gets rolling past where Ivar's at. Not outside the circle, per se, but he gets smacked up right back where he's at. And that's stung. So, yeah. Not doing too happy about it. But it happens to be John's turn as of now.
Now he's pissed, so good.
Yeah.
Good on the
I want to see John get up and do this.
Pulling a Luke Skywalker.
That's so great. More!
Yeah.
Okay, so and it's just the one, right?
Just the one. Let's do this guy. Transported.
So he figures he's kind of in an evil place. So he's going to make out of using forces, prime, and spirit, make little birds of light, like
Yeah.
embodiments of light itself, like little sparrows. He's just going to kind of go like this, and let them magic missile.
All right. I'd like it. It's no sweat shotgun, but I'll take it. Roll that beautiful beam footage. What we got? I just saw the gif of Luke Skywalker.
So that's power rank times what?
So you're rolling the blah, 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 blah. You're using arcane, right? Okay, so you're just rolling those. Just roll the dice necessary to actually cast the spell, and then all you're doing to aim it, basically, because depending on number of successes, we can determine how many of them you can produce. So yeah, let's get what we got going on for that. So roll. Your target will be. Your target's going to be 8, because they're not physical. So thankfully, that's making it easier.
Yeah.
What's the word?
I don't know why my sound keeps cutting out.
Okay, so 1 degree of success.
Okay, so you get one shoved out there and just goes, and of course you're talking about multiples. So you launch it forward, and these birds of light just go ripping right at it. And we got one success, so we're talking about your ranking for what you were doing. What was the primary base that you were using? The majority of dice that you had.
Prime.
Prime, so you had the most dice in Prime. Okay. How many dice of Prime did you use?
2.
2? Okay. That makes sense. And your will is what?
Will is 10.
Good. All right. So you're like that, and of course these birds go right through it, and you can see them kind of arc upward and then dissipate out of nowhere from the back of it. And when they make their impact, you can see the wounds that they create almost look like what you would expect whenever you see flame like burning through the center part of a napkin, and you can just see it peeling away, and it starts to happen all over. The creature, as it was, is now like writhing, and like most of everything else that comes out, it basically just stops for a minute and then completely burns from those wounds on outward and dissipates. So after all that noise and screeching and the rest of it, you're in dead silence as this thing just completely burns away into ash.
Wow. Pissed him off.
Yeah, it did the last 30-something or other damage that it had left anyway, so...
Yeah.
We're pretty deadly force with our sweat shotguns and stuff.
Yeah, so...
Live.
What was that
Where's
thing?
your destiny? We come over here, instead I get the Banshee looking at the sexiness that is Ivar. And where's Spear? We any closer now, or are we...
That thing had a chain going all the way up to that, what was it, a cathedral?
To the cathedral, yes.
Yeah, so it's in the, I'm sure it's in the cathedral. That was some kind of guard.
Yeah.
You think it was a guardian of some kind?
Guardian? No. Some kind of guard, though.
That's like Ivar's ex-girlfriend. She just yells all the time.
Awareness check, please.
Also, can we talk about the
my
fact that
girlfriend! Ah!
I have blades come out of my hand? That's new.
Yeah, Ivar always gets different things. He gets blades every time he pees.
You might need to cut down on the caffeine.
Ivar
My
doesn't
awareness
drink
is
coffee.
at 15.
Ivar drinks vodka.
Awareness. Do you want awareness or combat sense?
Awareness, specifically.
Awareness. 14. Okay. Ooh. My awareness is always enhanced listening to the Tron Legacy soundtrack.
Man, how aware are you?
Yeah, no shit. Okay, so everybody manages to catch the figure off in the distance. You can see the jutting rock that's come out in this big old talon, which caused the rupture of salt just because it anchored up just to where the circle had originated, splitting it apart, allowing this creature to come through. But past that malformation of the earth, you're seeing out in the distance what maybe could possibly be a child, not more than 10, 11, comes walking out into the street, just in view, and everybody kind of like leans a little bit, picks something up that looks to be utterly invisible, gives it a twist, and then pulls, and you can see what looks to be like almost hot metal of a chain link, and it does this, and you can hear this ping that like echoes everywhere, and the chain suddenly becomes visible, and you can see it heat up and then just kind of like melt down into the earth after that point.
Was the chain attached to the Banshee?
Well,
Yeah,
it does land to just outside the circle from where you guys actually managed to slay the thing, so yes.
Riv already confirmed that for you, though. I said that there's a chain attached.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't see it until it broke, and then from the point of the rupture, it becomes visible all along the way, and then heating up and
You let
melting
me
down.
just see it.
Yeah.
This child should not be here. Who lets child carry Banshee unleashed? It's very, very inappropriate. The parents, CPS should be called.
Didn't you have a hellhound on a leash earlier?
Ivar not child.
Well.
Ivar of legal age.
So Barrett's gonna scoop up some of the salt and just keep it in his pocket or a
The
pouch or
pockets
whatever.
and salt.
He's gonna pocket sand someone later. But it's a weapon, right? So he's gonna, hey, rather than having to spend time creating it again, he's just gonna scoop it up if it can.
Ivar kind of looks over at Riv and he's like, "Do you have any vodka?"
No. I checked my pocket dimension.
Ivar wanted to take the
Absolutely.
bottle and roll it in the salt and have a little drink, get some salt back in him.
So the child actually starts to approach the entire group. Did I say approach?
Fire away!
He started to approach the entire group.
No, that's a new word now.
Yeah, approached.
Isn't that the very first episode of Star Trek with the salt vampire?
Encroach.
Yeah, so the boy ends up walking up to everyone else. Now, what's funny is that he kind of shifts position and rapidly makes his movement towards everyone. But even though it might seem threatening, Ivor, your danger sense does not elevate whenever he approaches, so you know that this is not a problem.
Children are not anything to worry about. He's fine. What do you want, little child?
When he looks at the rest of you just within speaking distance, he actually speaks English, and every time he does, you can see the scorched bones underneath the skin, like his skin becomes transparent as he talks, and you can just see the illumination from within, almost like his bones are now suddenly radioactive whenever he's actually speaking. But he's just so please, he's waiting for you. Oh my lord. Ken, why?
He didn't even get that gift from somewhere. He had that on him. He just uploaded it right now.
It's like he had it in his digital prison wallet and just waited for a
That's in
moment
the-
to reveal it.
That's in the Imager LNI Ken stash. Is the child leading us the way, or is he just standing
He's just
there?
saying that he's waiting for you and standing still, wanting to see what everyone's reaction is, it appears.
Well, I guess I'll break the salt circle.
It's already been ruptured anyway, because that strange...
Yeah, but Barrick's still, he's gonna very tentatively cross it.
Yeah. And, when you do so and approach that child in this case, what was the roll for?
Ivar's doing little etiquette on how to treat little children that carry benches around.
Hands to your sides or in your pockets, sir. Anyway,
Ivar just looks and he's kind of well, thank you. We do not want to keep anyone waiting. Ivar needs a drink.
Everything Barrick knows about this Supernatural is literally from when he was a child watching the show Supernatural. So he's
fair play.
Don't base everything you know off what you see on TV, Ivar, or Barrick. It messes with mine.
The big humdinger.
Yep. So, the boy just kind of looks like you want to change it up a little bit because it needs to be just a wee bit less intense. Let's go with... Where are you? Yeah.
Huh.
All right, so you approach the child, and he says, "Please." He waits.
How do you do?
God. Get your fat ass back here.
Get your fat ass back here.
I got something in my front pocket for you.
You want to reach in and grab it for me? Anyway.
So,
Best character ever, hands down.
muscly arm, paperboy. Anyway, so we're moving along.
Well, like I said, he's approached. He says, "Please, I'm waiting," or "Please, he's waiting," rather, or that he's waiting for you.
Well, let's not keep him waiting.
Yeah. Well, we'll follow if he's leading. If not, we'll walk where he goes.
Yeah, got it. Cool. All right, so he just looks at everyone. You guys all decide it's okay. And you start to move through. Now, of course, when he starts to walk, you can hear rampant whispers of everything and everyone around you going on and on. Oh my lord, dude. Anyways,
And you just, as the whispers are going on, Ivar's looking around almost like he's trying to figure out are these whispers in his head, or is this just a hallucination?
well,
And so
surprisingly,
Ivar's like,
everybody's
swat
kind
that
of like
thing.
looking around whenever that's happening, and the boy walks you out, and as you do so, you start to feel a shift. Try to imagine walking on, like, because the roads themselves are sort of almost like sand and stone for the most part. And then when you start to do that, while you guys follow behind, there is like this vitrified path that starts to emerge behind him. Like he's walking, and you can see it almost like volcanic glass is starting to emerge from underneath. And as you're walking along, this creates a pathway forward, and you can feel a separation from yourself and the rest of this realm, and just kind of like passage along. It takes another 10 to 15 minutes on this little strange, vitrified road. The boy never deviates, and you're walking straight ahead, never losing sight of the cathedral at all. Once you emerge where you're supposed to be, you step to the front doors, and this cathedral is massive. More so than any other structure that probably any of you have seen that would be done by natural means. Now, everyone here is from Night City, so having a massive structure is not really so surprising. But its immensity doesn't necessarily come from entirely its physical appearance. You're drenched in this kind of, like, shadow that comes from it, even though you're standing in the light. But you can feel it on your skin, the absence of something good. Period. And
Ivar is just kind of doing a general occult of looking it over to see if there's things that he recognizes about it architecturally with a 24.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate that. Little digital bleach.
I didn't want to stare at the crying baby in the face anyway.
Yeah.
That's kind of creepy.
Yeah. So the structure, it appears to be a cathedral. That's exactly what it appears to be like. And that is about the only thing you recognize, because nothing else about this structure rings any effing bells about where it's from or why it's composed. It carries heavy Christian elements because, again, cathedral, but it doesn't possess the same sort of structural component. Like cathedrals are sort of immense cross-like structures a lot of the time with, an over-exaggeration towards the Gothic. To create a sense of, a temple of power is what it's supposed to emphasize, really. Like, you're supposed to feel that. So, you do, and that part's recognizable, but this is like an affront to everything that is living, anything that could possibly be good or decent or even humane. And just coming up close to it, you notice that a lot of the structure and the material doesn't bear any kind of similarity to something that you've seen before. Try to think of sort of almost like a pinkish, brackish, almost red-brown colored granite. And it's built out of that entirely and almost seamless in every facet. And so you have those incredible arches, you have the windows that look in but you cannot see anything past them, you have the flying buttresses that stand on the outside of the primary structures, letting it branch out into its spiny-like wings from east to west and north to south. And it is, just coming right up to its stony step makes you absolutely hesitate at the very thought of even coming closer.
Oh, Ivar wanted to go touch it.
Oh, I'm sure he does, because he's weird like that.
Ivar, look, nice building. This would be a good spot for Ivar to sit down and pee. What's this?
For once, I think that's an appropriate reaction.
Nice.
So, yeah, you're all standing there, and the boy just basically looks at all of you and says, I cannot go further.
Thank you for your help, little child. Be careful with banshees. They can cause lots of problems. Let's go inside, everybody.
He just like, be warned. Stay not still. Move forward. And he will call you and lead the way.
And Ivar slowly starts making his way towards the door. He'll get there eventually.
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
All right. Everybody's pressing forward. Setting foot on to its steps is detrimental. Let's see here. That is the wrong thing. I need to be going to here. There we go. So the moment that everyone steps foot onto it, there is this subtle and terrible inner pain. Where you guys were kind of aware of it beforehand, it's now happening from you. Like the underside of your skin is constantly on fire. With that being said, you're all just kind of shuddering there. Now, what that basically means in other terms is that everybody's at pain level 1 even if you're at 0.
Oh, wow.
The fact of the matter is that you step up onto this thing and, you know, you've heard the term unholy, you've heard the, like, unhallowed, you've heard these kinds of things, but what you're really experiencing is perhaps the greatest insult to all living beings that there could possibly be in physical form. This is an insult. You're standing on top of something that is hatred towards all. So, moving forward, the doors actually respond and welcome you in. Looking inside, there are peculiar torches that are actually, and I do mean torches, as opposed to like lamps or anything else, but there are torches and strange firelights of like blue and black that are constantly burning at all times. You're met with a darkened space, and you realize that even if you all wanted to, staying still would be impossible. The perpetual discomfort of the pain that you feel from just being in this place is, like physical presence is enough to want to make you move forward. But
quick question: even with Ivar's true faith, it's getting through his true faith.
Yeah, because you're on enemy territory now in the utmost degree.
And his danger sense, I'm going to presume, is at levels that it's actually now causing him pain.
Yeah. Like, basically, this building wants to eat you.
No.
Much like Demon Reach.
Let's get Spear and get out of here. Ivar doesn't like this feeling.
I don't like it either. Let's go. Let's move. Move faster, Ivar. Start pushing behind him.
Yeah. So you go pushing along, and then you find there are, in the distance, of course, more of these strange shadows moving about. There's a great deal of just, like, solid dread that manifests at every single, like, step. Like, the corner of your eyes, you keep thinking you're seeing something. And you start to move forward, and this grand hallway that you're in is quite large. Its ceiling is about 40 feet. It has those really intricate rippling archways that go all the way down. You have the hall itself with the superstructures that push out with the small pillars, and more of the same kind of flying buttress-like structuring to reinforce all of the inside archways as well. and it's like moving through almost like an exposed bone of the esophagus of some greater beast. It's really disturbing. The most prominent element that comes to mind, though, when you are actually coming up there is that something doesn't quite feel like it's entirely off. And everyone can see it straight up ahead. This kind of silhouette. And it's made of light in a fashion, but it doesn't carry the same kind of like ambiguity that the Lost Soul had whenever you were here.
Ivar was just doing a general awareness roll to see if there's anything that he can see that can actually lessen this pain, or that in a sense stands out as being the source. Besides, is it just the building itself causing it, or is there somebody behind it? Because it's still just a building.
It may be both. The building itself and something behind it. There's no way, like, the only way to stop it is to leave.
Or in Castle Ravenloft.
And John's 23 was basically the... Where is he?
Where is he? Like the person you're looking for?
Yeah.
You get scrambled. Like, you're starting to look around, but that's what the silhouette becomes more important, because up ahead you can see this sort of solemn figure, and it's just resting hands on what looks to be on a long sword that's just right at the pommel at chest level, and he's staring at everyone, not saying a word, but there's this silvery light that's always kind of emanating from off of this apparition of what looks to be a man probably in his later 20s, really extremely physically fit, cropped hair, and we can see this expression on his face of just focus. And he, like, as you guys start to approach, he kind of like glimmers out and then reappears ahead a little bit further down. Seems to be that this is what the child was referring to.
Your show. How do we get Spirit Destiny? I don't see it. I don't see any idea where it's at.
I'm guessing we follow Clinks here.
Could we just ask?
Is he far enough away that we can talk to him? Or close, I mean?
Well, I mean, you can always try reaching out and speaking to him, yes.
Hey, Clinks!
Hey, what?
Clinks. You know, the armor makes clinking noises.
It doesn't necessarily respond, but as you guys approach, it does the same thing. Disappears and reappears a little further down. And
She looks at Ivar and just... That's...
Let's keep going. I'm trying to see if we can find Spear.
Barrick's gonna look behind them and see if it appears that they're traveling, like, as far as they feel they're traveling. Or if it's one of those things where...
Make 2 steps inside.
Well, you know, like I'm thinking of the hallway in The Shining, where she's like jogging down it, and it's like getting longer and longer, and then she starts sprinting, and suddenly it's like...
yeah.
I was thinking more from JoJo, where like he climbs the stairs and then immediately is like at the bottom of the stairs taking a step.
Well, so you're like, you walk forward, walk forward, walk forward. You turn around to see if you're making any kind of headway, and when you realize that behind you does not look the same as when you entered, there is no doorway there. In fact, it looks to be some sort of a T intersection, where there is a left and a right. The door that you'd walked in is no longer there.
Let's just follow this thing. I don't think it's good if we wander.
So, you press on, and this thing just leads you through these dark corridors, one little bit at a time. And you get led upstairs at some points to various floors. Some of these hallways that you enter into have these extraordinarily, elongated, elegant windows that allow some of that pale light to come through, and then some places it becomes almost crushingly dark. There is never really any way to know exactly where you are, where you're going, and where you've come from always changes. It's never the same. You realize the place never had a problem with you entering because it never meant for you to leave. And after about...
How's Ivar's sense of direction going?
Well, I mean, if you were thinking about yourself as a compass, it's been spinning around like this, because it doesn't seem to have any kind of real true north.
No.
The worst of it is whenever you kind of come up to this doorway and the figure just kind of stops and you're perceiving like the door in its small little frame. It seems normal, and the figure just kind of like vanishes inward towards the door, basically saying to come in.
Riv, where is your gauntlet?
What do you mean? Where is it?
How many runes? How many runes do you have left? You want to recharge?
Hell yeah!
Ivar just like grabs your hand and
Whop!
he's still shaking, but he's charging you up.
3 extra fingers appear.
Well, if we're gonna walk in there.
And Ivar also fluffs up his bathrobe.
All right. What does that earn you?
That'll be mana sync.
So you're like,
Yeah. Well, might be a good stopping point because I have to peace out in 5 minutes.
yeah, don't worry, but I can't let you go until I get this little piece in.
Okay.
You're stuck here until I do it.
Well, I thought something might be happening if we walked in there, so
No,
I'm
I'm
gonna
aware.
start hoovering up mana while we walk in there.
Yeah, he
Right.
becomes the magic Roomba.
This is it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys start
Gotta
to,
be.
you guys push on the door, and it like you can hear like the stone of it just pushing open. And when you walk in, the second that everyone comes in through the doorway, all that pain dissipates, just stops. And then you're like coming in there, and you can see there's a larger bay window, and then 2 other windows on the side. And it looks like a bed chamber of a sort. And you can see this individual who looks similar to the man that had been leading you throughout the entire way. You can see that he's kind of like, he's older, for sure. He looks to be probably closer to his late 30s, and but he's got gray in his hair, and it's slightly blonde looking. His clothing is tattered and in bad shape, and he's just looking at everyone who's coming through, and he's like, I didn't think anybody was going to be coming anyway, but this is kind of surprising. And he's like, if you don't mind, if you'd shut the door behind you.
Barrick will shut the door. Close nicely.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you hear, "You forgot Ivar!"
That would be really bad. So he let's see, let's push it up to something.
Forgot Ivar. Barrick would totally accidentally on purpose hit the close elevator button if Ivar was coming.
Oh, sorry, the
I'm
elevator.
trying to open it. I'm sorry.
He's just kind of stands up from the table, and he's just like, he walks up to like John first, and he holds his hand out. He's like, John, good to see you, and like holds it out to shake your hand. Actually,
He just kind of holds his hand off for a second and says, "So, you have to forgive me. Who are you?"
my name is Michael. Actually, he kind of chuckles. He's like, yeah. Uriel put you up to this.
My biggest fear is that this is not luck of the devil, because there can be no devil.
No, not particularly. So, Michael, or just Michael?
The capital M.
He just
Both
like,
names are capitalized.
he's like,
Ground up in the gears of this anarchy.
yes, Barrick,
I see
capital M.
Honor and a
I've
pleasure,
already
sir.
looked at us. How do you know who we are?
Clearly, he's an archangel.
They do that, but for the most part, archangels and things go like that. But we came for something. Can we get it and get out of here? This place is kind of creepy.
I'm gonna have to agree with our drunk friend here.
He's like, this place is way more than just a little creepy.
What's an archangel doing in Fairyland?
Fairyland. You mean you took the ferry bridge to get here?
Oh, that makes way more sense.
Is that in character?
Yeah.
I mean, we crossed the bridge, yeah.
I'm certain Uriel put you up to this somehow without you even knowing. He must have known. But,
All I know is I'm here for the Spear of Destiny to pay for this baby.
who are you giving it to? If you get it.
Zeus, I think. Was it Zeus?
No,
No,
Anubis.
Anubis.
Anubis, sorry.
He's like
Oh, it's
scratching
Not
his
out
head.
of character, I guess.
Yeah, and he's just like, Anubis, wait. That guy in the market?
Yep.
Oh, that makes a hell of a lot more sense. Yep, had to be Uriel's work. Had to be. Well, to answer your question, I wound up here because I was trying to escape. Long story short, I fell out of favor with my own kin. As it turns out, love's a beautiful thing until you have it. And, well,
Yep.
yeah. Problem is, I didn't necessarily do too well. I was cast out and, well, found out that being with my beloved was far more dangerous than not, so I tried to separate myself from her as much as I possibly could, and I figured that maybe coming to this place, not this cathedral, but this place, would probably be the last that any of my own brethren would care to look. I had happened to be right, but wound up putting myself into a trap. What you're in right now is, well, he kind of like rubs the table a little bit that he was sitting at, and he goes like, "It's the last of my grace. The last of it." I was pretty much thinking I was going to die of starvation. Wasn't really looking forward to that. But getting out of here was going to require a little help, and I didn't have any on hand at the time, to be honest. So, investigating this place and knowing what it was, well, I figured that I might throw a monkey wrench into whatever creature's plans were, because you're in more or less the gulag of heaven.
The fuck?
Well, the city out there. He goes leaning out the window and pointing. And he's like, that.
Should I do like a legend lore to figure out what the hell that means?
Well, you can
Because-
definitely make a much more educated guess based on the gulag of heaven kind of statement.
It's like a prison, huh?
Well, it's the prison.
You guys are very elaborate.
Well, like I said, this cathedral, whatever it is, didn't belong here.
Well, shit. Does that mean that Spear of Destiny isn't here?
My biggest fear is that this is not the devil, because there can be no devil if there is no God.
What was that? I didn't miss the roll here, sorry.
Well, shit. Does that mean the Spear of Destiny isn't here?
And he's just like, oh no, it's here.
I see people ground up in the gears of this panic. I see people in anger.
Huh. Well, maybe you can help us,
Living in a great void.
and we can help you. I mean, since you're an angel and all, I'm guessing.
You say you need help to escape, and you're trying to put a wrench in things. What kind of problem do you have here, Michael?
Well, the problem is that I was trying to safeguard something. As it turns out, the Spear of Destiny itself, because I knew where it was. Not too far recently, certain religious relics were being stolen by various entrepreneurs, which is probably one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen. These people don't even realize what they're holding is some kind of cosmic nuclear weapon, but they're going to sell it on some black market to make a lot of money, without even realizing what they are. One of the most recent thefts actually occurred with one of the devout, and, well, he's in pursuit of the one that stole the relic, but since I've left Earth, I don't know what happened to him.
What relic has been taken?
Well, not one that you should be concerned about, considering.
It's not Android, is it?
No. We didn't have androids through that kind of thing. Like, he goes wandering back over and pulls out a small box. It's longer than it is, wide. And he lifts it up, and sure enough is the single head of the large spear. It's like that.
Choice.
Wait a second, you're just going to give us Spear of Destiny?
No. I need to get out of here. And if it is Anubis that she's truly offering it to, then we need to make sure that Anubis gets payment. Because I'm certain that I would be dead if it wasn't for my brother's interference.
All right. Well, welcome aboard. Unless John, do you have anything to say about this?
No, I'm pretty much go fuck all at this point. So this is just great. Just great.
I'm surprised that one of your other characters.
Best way out of this gulag.
So, out there, the reason why it is the gulag is because it's the story that everybody fears. What used to be Sodom and Gomorrah.
Called it. Someone called it.
Yep. Yep.
That's a good one, by the way. That was a really good one to pull that one in.
So he's like, what better place?
Wasn't there a pillar of salt around we could have used?
Yeah, but you guys came in on the wrong side.
Damn it.
Trust me, I thought of that.
By the way, Sodom and Gomorrah are located in the seventh circle of hell in Dante's Inferno, inside the city of Dis.
But,
yeah.
like, this is the place where all things that have truly caused offense are sent. Now, we don't really watch this kind of thing. We just dump it here because this place doesn't really have a lot of exits or entrances. The ferry bridge is one of the ways in. It's also kind of one of the ways out. But it's just getting there from here that makes the difference. So, long story short, if we're going to get out of this thing, I can lead us that way, but it's going to take every ounce of what we got, because if you were unmolested getting to me, that means that whatever is here wants you here. And is-
We were molested pretty heavily, but John and Barrick and Salt Shotgun here, or Sweat Shotgun here, took care of it.
from within the
Ivor
cathedral?
likes getting molested. Reminds me of childhood.
Oh, God.
There was a banshee of sorts.
It was outside the cathedral, though. It was chained to the cathedral,
This
from what I
cathed-
saw.
What that was nothing more than a slave to this whole thing. Pure and simple.
There's
Slave.
little child that brought us to you. Do you know anything about the child?
Yes.
Is he friend or foe?
He's become friend. He's one of the original victims of the Sodom and Gomorrah. Seeks
So
redemption.
much Sodom.
You innocent child. Great. Good thing.
Yeah, well, you know, a vengeful sword doesn't really care who's innocent and who's not. All it does is swing and shed the blood. So, we leave as soon as you've had a chance to prepare yourselves and be ready. Maybe the cathedral will actually be navigated, but I'm fairly sure that whatever controls this place will try to interfere with us.
Can't we just Hulk smash our way through each wall to get out like any good maze?
Yeah, you can be my guest and try, but even with all what I had when I got here, I couldn't do it.
Can you dampen that pain?
The reason why I don't have my grace any further, what little of it there was left, was because I consecrated this space, this one space. It is the only piece of holy ground in the worst unhallowed earth I've ever seen.
You've
Can
never
you
been to New
consecrate-
Jersey, then, have you?
Good one.
Can you consecrate anything else, or are you tapped out?
I'm done. More or less, I'm mortal. I think I could still fight, but I don't know if I'll even make it out. But I need to make sure that all of you can actually be released far enough. So, this is the last of it.
If you'd like, I could get you Gabriel's sword. I know how to make it. You have to stay close to Ivar.
Just because you got to get in there and play around with reality's base code doesn't mean you can make Gabriel's sword. I appreciate the offer, though.
Well, is there anything you have in this sacred room that can come with us to, you know, like rip candlestick off wall that we can use to help
Feel
protect
free to look
us?
around. Anything in here, if you know how to use it improvisationally, yeah, I could say you could probably take whatever you want. It would make most sense to bring along with you, for sure.
Well, would it be better to do an occult roll or an awareness roll to see if Ivar notices anything standing out of...
Oh, you can probably makeshift all kinds of shit in here. But, you know what I mean? So, there's
29.
like, it's like a bed chamber with various things all asunder it. So, like, standard, like, living quarters with a bunch of different stuff in it. So, you
Got
kind of
it.
have a bit of selection.
So I'm gonna actually have him do an occult roll. Is there any... we'll start with awareness. Is there anything that stands out to him being occult-like that could perhaps be used to bolster any abilities?
Right. In this case, I will leave it to it. We'll get the roll in there, but Michael's just going to be like, once you guys have what you need and you're rested, I'll lead the way out. And he pretty much just slaps that small little case shut, and whenever you're ready. And so he just takes a seat, letting everybody kind of assemble themselves.
Is this our good stopping point?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
And to those who are watching, thanks.